positive proximity. Dar Williams and Beth Macy in conversation.
I suggest the way to find yourself to positive proximity is not by going, let's all love each other. That's kind of oogie and scary, and we're not the age of Aquarius anymore. But, find your history. What's your culture? What's your food scene? What's your waterway? Waterways are very magical. What's your, what are your natural wonders? The ideal is when you put them all side by side. I was talking about the beautiful mosaic of the Pullman Porter here in Roanoke. So when you put history and art, when they come together, all of those different identity building projects come together. That's kind of the ideal of positive proximity. And you don't really know where history ends and art begins. And that's what Roanoke has.
I've heard people say they chose to live in Roanoke as opposed to Asheville and maybe some other trendier towns because Roanoke is authentic. And I think when you say the Pullman Porter, we really do. I mean, we're a train town, and we've got a history that is at sometimes dark, but we're working to, try to get beyond that. And so I know you've thought deeply about communities that are also hurting from the aftermath of institutional racism.
Yes.
Globalization. We talked a lot about that in the context of Factoryman, and I have a book coming out next year about the opioid epidemic. So I've spent a lot of time in the coal fields. And
you are the one, Beth. I have to say, thank you for writing that book. You are the one to write it. And Factoryman, I just loved because there's all these different perspectives, and coming out of all those perspectives is the us. It's a story, so it's really riveting. But it's all of these different perspectives of it, and we're not going to get to the opioid epidemic with a magic bullet. It's understanding all the voices and all the perspectives, and you have so much respect and so much depth. Thank you for writing that book. Okay, I look forward to it.
I almost wouldn't have done it had I known how hard it was going to be. Because I approach it sort of like Factoryman Part 2, right? Because, Factoryman is largely set in Henry County, which is, where Bassett Furniture is from. But it now has the highest opioid prescribing rate in the country. So I'm going back to these communities. I'm also writing about how if we think they're outside of our communities, they're not, because they're also right here in our suburbs and right on our blocks. And so we're all
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then at a recent Truvine event, I know some of you were at, we had an event at St. John's Church. I had a great panel, black and white. I had an amazing minister, Reverend Lee. And it was a rare mixed event in Roanoke. Roanoke has been proven to be one of the most segregated places in the country by race and income. And I had such high hopes for it. I mean, I had this great group of people. I mean, you wouldn't have come to the event had you not been a person of goodwill. And it was just still so hard to nurture this conversation around the issues, even for people who had come with the best of intentions. And so the way it worked is that you could text the moderator questions, and the whites in the audience largely asked questions about the circus history, which was kind of a side thing in the book. And the African Americans in the audience said nothing. And a black minister on the panel told me after, he said, people don't want to talk about this still. It was the week after the election, so it was a really, really hard time. And I was thinking about this when I heard this quote from Mother Teresa the other day. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other.